what's taking place in this country with Donald Trump, about 100 charges, actually more. Every one of those charges taken to their max, this president would face around 1,000 years in prison. They're sending a message to lawyers, don't represent Donald Trump. They're sending a message to you and other Republicans and Americans, don't you dare ever challenge a Democrat candidate or race, or we'll bring hell down to bear on you. And they're telling Donald Trump, you're not going anywhere. We're going to cripple you financially, which is what they're doing. We're going to make it impossible for you to run effectively against our man, Joe Biden, for president, should you get the nomination. And we're going to put you in prison for the rest of your life. And when you're done in federal prison, you're going to prison in Georgia. And when you're done in Georgia in prison, you're going to prison in New York. Your head's going to be spinning. You're not going to know what the hell hit you. Over documents? Over legitimate challenges to the 2020 election? They're using the Klan Act. They're using the Enron statutes. They're using financial fraud statutes. They're using the 1917 Espionage Act. Never been used against a former president. Never should be. And other cockamamie arguments. The RICO statute down there in Atlanta. But they know the fix is in. Democrat judges, Democrat grand juries, Democrat juries. People say, how did this happen in Atlanta where the clerk put out the list of charges against the President of the United States? Right here, all 90-some pages, put the list out there before the grand jury even met and voted. How do you think it happened? The prosecutor there, Willis, pretends she has no idea how this happened. She has to sign off on all the indictments, personally. What went to the IT department in the clerk's office and was posted was from her. Then they lie. They say it's fictitious. People have looked at the old and the new and they say it's almost identical. It's not fictitious. Then a case that takes 2.5 years to investigate, turns out she's in a hurry. She races to try and get certain witnesses in. She tells the judge to wait. Why? Because she's been caught. She's been caught. She lists charges and indictments approved by a grand jury that never met and voted. Not till later. She is a slimeball, just like all the other prosecutors involved in this case. She's complete sleaze. Now, I want you to listen briefly. I'm not going to play to you for you what you heard. I'm not going to, infuriate you over stupid comments from her. But I want you to listen to some of these questions because I thought one in particular was very, very important. Go.
Can you clarify in Georgia the mandatory minimum when it comes to RICO charges, whether it's servable by probation or how that might play out?
The RICO charges has time that you have to serve, so it is not a probated sentence.
Madam District Attorney, what's the timetable for your trial?
What is the timetable for the trial?
Yes.
As you know, in this jurisdiction, trials are set by the judges.
All right, stop. In every jurisdiction, trials are set by the judges. The question is, what do you want it to be? Because they have to make a presentation to the court on when they think the trial should be, when they think they're ready for trial. Of course, defense is going to say, wait a minute. You're dropping this all on our heads. You got 19 defendants, and you want to try them all at once in a courtroom, and you want to do it in the next 6 months? That shows you what a lunatic she is. There's never going to be a trial of 19 defendants in the same courtroom. If I'm a lawyer, even for the lowest of the defendants, who's charged with the least amount of charges, I'm going to say we need to break this off. The problem is I can't share information with the other defendants if I'm going to properly defend my defense. There's 1,000 reasons why you can't do it. Go ahead.
And so it will be the judge that sets the date of the trial. This office will be submitting a proposed scheduling order within this week. However, that will totally be at the discretion of the judge.
You're the fourth person, the fourth jurisdiction now to indict Donald Trump. Do you believe you need to be the fourth one to try him, or could you move it up? Do you want to be the first?
Okay, let's stop here. What a stupid question. Do you want to be the first one or the fourth one? What is the point of that question? The better question is, How in the hell do you expect Donald Trump to defend his liberty when you drop charges like this in late August? You're telling us you want to have a quick trial, even though it's up to the judge to send the date. When you know full well what's going on with Alvin Bragg, when you know full well what's going on with Jack Smith and his 2 cases, how do you expect Donald Trump to defend himself, number one, under the best of circumstances, even not running for anything, and then number 2, while he's running for president of the United States? That's the question you ask her. Not, do you want to be first or fourth? Go ahead.
I don't have any desire to be first or last. I want to try him and be respectful for our sovereign states. We do want to move this case along, and so we will be asking for a proposed order.
She wants to move the case along. She spent 2.5 years. Now she's in a hurry because you're in the middle of an election. I don't know how much more evidence we need about what's going on here. This is the monopolization of our electoral system and the criminal justice system. That's what it is. By one-party rule. By one-party rule. You damn well know if we had 3 Republican prosecutors, one in Utah, one in Idaho, and one in Kansas, and this stuff was going on, you know damn well how the media would react to this. And many Republicans, too. Go ahead.
That occurs a trial date within the next 6 months.
Within the next 6 months, which is an absolute impossibility. Here's what they want. They want 1 conviction. 1 charge is good enough, 10's better, but they need 1 conviction. They got 4 jurisdictions. The goal is to stop him, or the goal is to persuade single women without children in the suburbs not to vote for this guy. They know it's all political, that's what they're doing, and they want him in prison. That's what they want. They want him convicted. He can appeal all he wants. Look, others have said it and I'll repeat it. RICO cases are easy to win, particularly in Georgia, because the definition is so broad. All you need is 2 more examples of a pattern of criminality. That's why she's saying fraud, lying to state representatives, you know, all the bottom-feeding charges, all the different people. She can say, okay, we'll get him guilty of this, and these 2 people. Then you have RICO. And RICO does not provide for probation. You got to serve the whole term in the state of Georgia. They know this. I know this. And so they're figuring by the time he goes on appeal, by the time he goes to the Supreme Court, the election's already decided, it's over, our guy has won, and that's that. Meanwhile, the Republican Party's dead. Dead. Because if you have Democrat prosecutors in Democrat cities who can bring charges against Republican candidates, it's over. And the Democrat Party does hate America. This book is timed in an incredible way, not because I knew all this was going to happen. In fact, the last chapter on Trump wasn't added until the very end. It's unbelievable. Continue, please.
Well, have you had any contact with the special counsel?
All right, stop. Have you had any contact with the special counsel? That's a smart reporter. Have you had any contact with the special counsel? So I'm watching my friends on Fox the other night, and I'm on there. And this is barely even mentioned. Somehow a curveball got right by so many of these analysts and hosts. Not because they intended it, because it did. I said, wow, now that's the question. Have you been in touch with the special counsel in Washington? What is her answer? Go.
About overlap between these cases, and do you intend to try all of these defendants together?
Do I intend to try the 19 defendants?
Stop. See, so she immediately goes to the second part. She eventually gets to the first part. Go ahead.
In this indictment together? Yes.
And have you had any contact with the special counsel about the overlap between this indictment and the federal indictment?
I'm not going to discuss our investigation at this time.
I'm not going. That's enough. I'm not going to discuss our investigation at this time. Nobody asked her to discuss the investigation. Have you had any contact with the special counsel about the overlap? She wouldn't answer it. That means yes, because no is an easy word to say. No, yes. Let me tell you what's going on here. This is very, very important. This is all being orchestrated out of the Department of Justice, Main Justice in Washington, D.C. That's why you don't have identical charges being brought at the city, state, and federal level. That's why these announcements are not one on top of the other. They're spread out and they're timed in response to anything that happens to the Bidens. You can see how they're manipulating the calendar, how they're manipulating the process. They know when Republican primaries are. They know when one or the other is intending to drop indictments. They have discussed and are discussing how they're going to argue in front of each one of their judges the trial dates and what they're going to argue in terms of pressing the cases on prior to this election, because they certainly don't want these matters being handled after the election. That is exactly what they're doing, America. And she spilled the beans by not answering that question.
Want to see more? Sign up for Levin TV.